Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
Resilient. Okay, this team is so damn resilient. So much adversity was battled today. It wasn't just the weather and the wind and the downpour that they battled through. They went through so many injuries. All right, you see Jordan Mailata, future Hall of Famer, goes down. Jack Driscoll slides in. Isaac Seumalo goes down, and you're still okay. And oh, by the way, not only were you okay, but your offensive line dominated, which opened up holes for Miles Sanders, who patiently attacked, and he was awesome. I wondered how he would look after that outing against Washington. I did not expect to see that. I'm very pleased to see that. And he was the next tier in a running back. He was sensational. He was ridiculous. He was outrageous. And he was, as well as the offensive line, he was the reason why you won this football game. I like looking at the timeline. Oh, there were some great defensive plays too. Haason Reddick. I thought Gannon brought the blitz in very timely spots, which were very effective. So there's a lot there too. It's not just one man, but I want to look at the timeline again. And I like refreshing everybody because it's so damn important to see how they are winning and the different ways that they can win and the variety in how they get it done, which is hard to defend if you are an opposing team. The Lions, they abused the blitz, and Jalen Hurts said, screw you, damn it. The Vikings said, I dare you, Jalen Hurts. Jalen said, screw you, damn it. I will succeed. 50-50 balls against Washington. Your wide receivers made plays. And in this game, offensively, Miles Sanders was so lethal. He was great. I mean, he was consistently getting good yards. And I thought Hurts, when needed to run, was electric. To score the first touchdown, tough, hard runs, which really does instill some sort of juice to your team. Your quarterback's taking hits at the goal line on fourth down, and it wasn't simple. It wasn't easy. He had to earn those yards, and he gets into the end zone that way. It gets everybody fired the hell up. I love the screen pass prior to that to Dallas Goedert, which set some things up. Some big balls by Nick on fourth down. Because you couldn't score. You're down 14-0. You think, hey, if I kick a field goal here, I get some points. But obviously, with how the game is called these days, between him and Shane Steichen and where the league is, yeah, you go for it. The one I thought maybe when it was 14-14 and it was right before half, maybe you kick the field goal knowing you get the ball back at the second half to go up 17-14. Maybe you just look at it that way. He said, no, that's not how we operate. Bang, 20-14. And that call there sets a different tone. But you're down 14-0. Hurts has one of his worst throws of the year looking for Pascal. Double covered, it gets deflected, tipped up in the air, and they take it back for a pick six. Really, they got lucky because, and I say that, I'm saying the Eagles got lucky because it could have been 21-0. Trevor Lawrence missed a throw when they were up 2 touchdowns. That could have been a backbreaker. It could have made it that much more difficult. It could have deflated all of the fans that were there standing with the ponchos on when it was downpouring. It could have been even worse. And I don't know, is that too much of a hole to climb back from? Probably not when you score as many as you do and this team is as resilient as they are. Probably not, but it does make it that much more difficult. But this shows how they stay engaged and how they stay in the fight and how they can overcome adversity. It really isn't where they think they're out. They never count themselves out. They just keep going. They keep attacking. They stay with the game plan. I thought that there were some good adjustments, and bada bing, bada boom, they're scoring at will. But their offensive line, you plug and play. I want Jeff Stoutland to have a lifelong contract with this organization. We take it for granted. That's not normal. That's not normal. All right, let's take Jack Driscoll in the draft, and okay, hey, we need you at left tackle, and there we go. Like, you don't do that. You do not do that. Okay? You're supposed to be terrible when that many guys get hurt on your offensive line. Yet I'm seeing Jason Kelce once again get to the second level. How many times do you hear the name Lane Johnson? Right? I mean, you don't. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm just saying he does his job. He just takes care of business. He dominates. There was a fourth down play going back to the Jack Driscoll thing. I mean, there's going to be some things that you don't love where it was fourth down early. Jalen Hurts got flushed to his left. He made a throw. No one was really there, and they got off the field. That was during the uncomfortable times. That stuff happens, but the overall body of work, just don't take it for granted. That's all. But yeah, I mean, look, moving forward, there's a lot of question marks surrounding where they're at health-wise. I know Darius Slay said that he was fine. I don't even know the status of Jake Elliott. I despise Nick Sirianni's decision late between him and Shane Steichen to keep the offense on the field when it was 29-21. But granted, we are understanding of where Jake Elliott was when he got hit and went to the ground there, which gave the Eagles the first down. When they did put up 3 points, they took it off the board to keep their offense out there and all. So you knew he was banged up. It was a tough, hard hit that he took. Quite honestly, I think maybe it was a cheap shot because there was no way in hell that you were going to block that football. So you just decided to take a shot at the kicker, which he drained when he had a chance after that. I'm aware that there's probably a correlation with him taking that hit and their decision, but I don't know. I mean, how bad is it? If he made one already, can you put him back out there? I don't know. I don't have all the details. I just know that Haason Reddick stepped up big time. But that describes what type of team this is. If someone needs you, they're there. Let's be honest. When the Jags were putting together that drive, what happened? Jonathan Gannon dialed up a blitz at the right time, and James Bradbury took advantage of Trevor Lawrence being young and staring down his receiver, and then he just bang, pounce. He came out of nowhere. He was just soaring towards the sideline and snagged it. And we talked about no Avonte Maddox, right? And we said, oh, Christian Kirk, he's going to be a dog out there and probably eat with that matchup. We didn't hear him all game long until there was that play late where he got a big-time pass. But other than that, he was nothing. He was irrelevant. This is not simple stuff, okay? This is dangerous stuff when you're down your best slot who was playing great ball and you lose Maddox. You have to throw in Scott, who had a big-time pass breakup at one point. Early on, tough. Early on, some struggles, and I don't necessarily love it. But I'm just saying, he did have one nice pass breakup there later on in the action. I saw T.J. Edwards running up towards Trevor Lawrence. He was kind of debating, does he want to throw it? Does he want to run it? Bang, T.J. Edwards. I saw Jordan Davis at the line of scrimmage swallowing a human. It was great. Unfortunately, he got taken out right after that. I would like to see more of Jordan Davis doing those type of stellar plays, but, I'm just kind of playing through my head what I saw. Here's something, though. A.J. Brown, man, I'll tell you what, A.J. Brown is hysterical. So on that pick six, we all saw the play where he didn't really go after the guy, and it looked like he was being lazy and didn't try to make a tackle where there was a clear and easy lane to put a body on it. He tweets out after the game, this just cracks me up, lack of effort? No, never. Bad decision? Yes, LOL. My thought process was to strip the ball and get it back because defensive guys don't know how to carry the ball, but I got blocked. I'll just tackle him next time, LOL. Please forgive me. With the SpongeBob gif of SpongeBob being on his knees just asking for forgiveness. I mean, that's amazing. That is absolutely hysterical. That's the type of personality we have in this room. And when you're putting up 95 yards and when you're going to be a beast every single damn night, we'll take it. We'll take that. We'll take the payoff of, but I'm sure he was probably thinking, okay, I'm in Tennessee. You have a play like that, nobody ever sees it, no one ever talks about it. He probably checked his phone and was like, holy shit, these fans are psychotic and I love it. Come on. You go play down in Tennessee, and then we talk about a pick six where maybe we didn't like your effort on a tackle, and we're breaking down the X's and O's and the film of it during the game, and we're all having debates online. He's probably like, what the hell is this? These people are nuts. It's great, though. That's what makes us beautiful. You know what I mean? That's what makes us absolutely beautiful. Gainwell got a touchdown. They had to handle the adversity when there was the block downfield by Goddard. This is why I get upset with Goddard. While I know he's a great, great blocker for his position, and I know that he can catch a lot of balls and, be dominant in the passing game too. But it seems like there's always those miscues that need to be cleaned up. He missed a touchdown. The ball hit him in the hands, hit him in the chest, and he dropped it. Unacceptable. Those are the little things that happen with him over the last couple of years that stop him from being that next jump of a tight end. I need that. Players are going to drop passes. I got you. But it always seems with him, it's either a touchdown miss, or there's a big wide open field to the right side and he doesn't necessarily focus on catching the ball. He turns his eyes upfield, so he drops it and that misses out on a 40, 50-yard gain. I need that cleaned up. That's the difference when it comes to tighter games and all that, right? I mean, that could bite you in the rear end. It didn't today, and I like the way this team is set up where, let's be honest, if something like that does happen, you would think that maybe a Haason Reddick is there, and he was something else, huh? Like, that's the first time we saw that level of life from Haason Reddick. Now, I thought Trevor Lawrence at times looked very Carson Wentz-ish, where he didn't have good pocket presence. Maybe was holding on to the football too long. Didn't seem as aware. The one fumble he had because the ball just flew out of his hands, he actually did. And this was on a 4th down, so if it wasn't a fumble that Fletcher Cox recovered, the Eagles would have had the ball and it would have been a turnover on downs anyway. But it did seem that he had the 1st down wide open for a pass there on the right side. But maybe he got happy and he got too excited, and as soon as he saw it, the ball just got, falling from his hands. But that's the type of stuff you have to battle when this game is the way that it is. And that's why I love dissecting this game with the idea of, this team, they were given really tough circumstances. And so were the Jags. But the Jags were handed a 14-0 lead, and yet it evaporated, and they kept creeping into it. And then by the end of it, they were in control with no real worry. I hated the late decision to go for it instead of kicking the field goal, but ultimately, there was no fear that they were really going to lose it. With the blink of an eye, the Eagles got the ball back, and they were in victory formation. So it wasn't a clear, sunny day where Hurts can be in the shotgun, have some RPOs, and let it rip and let it fly over and over and over again. Downpour. Sometimes the snap, was Jason Kelce snapping the ball too early when Jalen Hurts wasn't set? The ball goes on the carpet. These are weird days. You can't have the full playbook because you have to kind of coach and play call with the surroundings being in play. So it's weird. And the fact that you can still battle back to this level of dominance, while that's the case, what can't this team do? They came out flat. They came out sloppy. I expected Doug Peterson to have his team all fired up, being back in his own barn, where he got a nice standing ovation. But as soon as that ball was kicked off, it's go mode, Doug. I hope you get pounded into the dirt. And that's essentially what happened. I loved Miles Sanders after the game. The best part about being 4-0 is being 5-0. That's the way they think. That's the way they attack. That's the way that they prepare every single week. Think about this. You win this game. You're the only team undefeated. The locker room's going nuts. I do have a violation. More on that in one moment. Covey put something up on Instagram. But how easy is it then to go, man, this was awesome. This game was great. And, of course, there was some positive things said about what just happened in the football game. But the way Jason Kelce leads, the way Lane Johnson leads, the way Nick Sirianni has them going, one day better. It's boring, but it works for them. They're just like, hey, yeah, we're 4-0, 5-0. 5-0! That's where their mind's at right now. And I love it because I think it relates to what we want. It relates to the ultimate goal. They're never satisfied. It's always about we need more. We're still hungry. What's that? You just had a 32-ounce steak? I want 40. What's that? I had 6 plates of mashed potatoes? I want 20. What's that? Vanilla and chocolate ice cream with a waffle cone, maybe some Jimmy's? Sign me up. I want 6. What's that? Apple pie? 3 slices. That's all. That's all. You know what I'm saying? All right, 856-442-9805. Phone number for the Anytime Hotline. Can't wait to hear how everybody's feeling. I don't know exactly where we're going to be throughout the week. There's going to be a lot more questions. There's going to be a lot more updates on where everybody is health-wise. I saw Darius Slay had something on his forearm area. You know, Mailata. Look, Mailata's a big loss. I think offensive line-wise, as long as it's not too many bodies, they can definitely withhold that. They can stand still and still be able to be a successful team because history just shows that, and they seem to plug and play fine. Now, as more bodies get hurt, then we could bring up a different dialogue. But as for the offensive line in general, I think they know how to kind of cooperate with some injuries there. Slay, I don't feel lovely about McPherson. I don't feel lovely about Josiah Scott. There's more question marks there. And we'll kind of have to wait and see how the entire week plays out. But damn, I love this football team. It's just that simple, man. They get you fired up. They play inspired football. They don't stop. They just go, 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 go. Now, here's the violation I had. Was that dreams and nightmares that Covey was playing in the locker room? You can't go back to the old roots. I'm sorry, that's a violation. And I have to call out the players who were here in the past. You can't go back to that season. That season was special. Now, some are telling me that it's somewhat telling us where the season's going to lead. If they're just going to follow that season in 2017 with the same song, it's telling you and it's reflecting on how they play the game. I don't buy that. Every team is different. Every team has a new identity. You need to find a new identity. Am I nitpicking a little bit? Yes. I'm just saying, personally, I don't love the same song being used in the locker room. That's just not my thing. All right? Kirk had 60 yards, by the way. 60. While Miles Sanders ran for 134 for 27 carries, or 27 carries for 134 yards and 2 touchdowns. See, I kind of knew that it was Fugazi, the Jags' run defense, because, well, the game dictates that. When you're up big, the other team is going to throw the football to try and come back into the football game. So I don't think they necessarily had the proper situations played out to tell the full story on what defense they are. I don't think they're an awful defense. They have great playmaker. We know that they have skill in that department, right? Just on their defense, whether it's Josh Allen, whether it's Devin Lloyd, like they do have dogs for sure. But just looking at it, there wasn't a big enough sample size for those numbers to scare me. I didn't expect this version of beatdown in that area, but I thought you could do something with it. Well, I was worried about the Eagles' run defense. Well, you know, you look at their backs and combined just rushing yards. They had 10, 39. What's 39 plus 32? That's math, but it's not good overall. That's not dangerous. All right. Anytime hotline call. We are going to start things off with my man, Sean. Here we go.
Well, that game took another 10 years off my life, but they survived. And, I mean, the game pretty much played out the way everybody thought. I mean, give Jacksonville credit. They're an improving team. You know, and even though the Eagles won, there were so many injuries in that game that you have to worry about moving forward. Darius Slay, Mailata, and now the kicker, Jake Elliott. I mean, hopefully that's the reason why Sirianni didn't kick the field goal at the end of the game, because that was absolutely shocking to me. But today's MVP was Miles Sanders. The kid ran his ass off. He's running hard all year. I guess he's going for that contract, proving that he's an elite back. You know, great win by the Eagles, you know, on to Arizona.
I got to give Sanders a lot of credit because I busted him up a lot during the offseason. He wasn't really practicing. He had the hamstring lingering problems. I just thought, here we go again. It's going to be another year of battling this type of stuff. And then, even last week, I'm like, all right, well, you talk about the early games of the year, and it looked like he was bursted out of a cannon. He was just like on a whole nother level. And now that there were a couple games under his belt, you saw what happened against Washington. All right, maybe the first week and the first couple of games was just more of new season, excitement. You're kind of rolling. What happens as your body starts taking hits? Do you crumble a little bit? Just because it's the nature of your body getting banged up. Well, he answered. He answered big time. I didn't expect it. So now that this seems to be more of the norm than not, I'm going to back off that leash for right now. It's in the back of my mind. It's always there in this side pocket on the left side of my brain. Like, I'm aware, and I do have my concerns just because, well, there's always been something that follows him, keeping him off the field. But this is ridiculous. This changes an offense. This is dynamic level of running, and it helps when the beasts up front are as crazy as they are. But the Sanders have felt different. When you watch him looking at the line of scrimmage to see where to go, he's reading the gaps different. He's patient when attacking those gaps. It's like a lot of those IQ questions that I wondered about before seem to just be sharper, which is great. It's phenomenal. I don't care if it's the contract year that's somewhat helping him rise to this occasion. I just need him to do it. Joe was awesome there. I'm with you, though, with the banged up thing. With the Jake Elliott, because if let's say he was healthy, and he wasn't, so we know that. I'm saying if he was, there's such thing as being stupidly aggressive. Aggressive is awesome. I like being aggressive in today's era. I prefer being aggressive in today's era. But there's a line that you can't cross. And in that circumstance, I see people trying to justify, well, Nick likes to be aggressive, and they were aggressive all game. Yeah, I gotcha. But there's time and reason. There's awareness of where you're at in a game. The score matters. How much time is left on the clock matters. The way your defense is playing matters. The way Trevor Lawrence is playing matters. Like, all of that truly does come into play. So it was a dumb football decision if everyone was healthy. Everyone wasn't. You have to adjust on the fly. I'm sure they had more information than we did, and there is a reason why the decision was made that was. Because anyone with a brain would see that you kicked the field goal in that particular moment. So I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt that Jake Elliott just wasn't capable of doing it, and they did not feel like the percentage was good enough. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. Hopefully that doesn't backfire on me. All right, next call.
Mr. Broads, huge fan of the show. Just had to call in. What a great win for the Birds today. Honestly, and showing that they got some resiliency to fight from behind. Loved it. Honestly, really shouldn't complain about much of anything. The only thing I will kind of say is people are worried about second half scoring. I'm a little more worried about Jalen's kind of has a slow start. I mean, the last two games, he started 1 for 5, then balls out. In this game, he had the pick 6. But literally, honestly, after those first couple drives, he balled out again. Anyway, loving it. Go Birds.
Thanks for the call, man. I don't have any issues with Jalen Hurts. And you talk about slow starts, whether he starts out 1 for 5 or he throws a pick 6. And, yeah, I mean, that was bad. Don't get me wrong. That throw was ill-advised and arguably the worst throw I've seen him make this season. There's no reason to try and force the ball in Pascal's hands there, and it wasn't even very accurate. And there's 2 defenders, and, it stunk. It was a putrid throw. If he balls out after that, and after that 5-throw stretch, and I'm just using 5 throws as an example, let's say through the first 2 drives he's 1 for 5, and everybody's upset because the offense looks bad. Well, if he started out hot, but then he had 5 bad throws in a row in 2 series in the second quarter, and then he does well after that, does it matter? My point is, if you assess a quarterback through all 4 quarters, there's going to probably be 2 drives at some point that are going to be ugly, if not more, right? If not more, there's probably going to be 5 bad offensive drives, 4 bad offensive drives, 3 bad offensive drives. So I'm just saying, like, you almost have to pencil those in at some point. It's never going to be where your offense is just bang, 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 bang. Sometimes, very rarely, Sometimes you see a game where a team doesn't punt. For example, we had to deal with that nonsense in the previous season because Jonathan Gannon stunk and allowed that to happen and gave guys like Derek Carr way too much opportunity to do so. But that's not common when the defensive coordinator has brains. So, whether it happens early, whether it happens in the second quarter, whether it happens in the fourth quarter, whatever it is, quarterbacks deal with it. So if it's with Hurts, okay, so the first two drives they have to get their feet wet, and then boom, they explode. And he's running the ball tough, and he's taking some hits, but he's churning his legs to get an extra 4 or 5 yards, which the team just loves. And there's an energized boost that occurs because the team is going crazy due to knowing that that's our quarterback. And he's leaving it out there for us. Like, I'm not worried about it. Right? It seems like after every game, we have to find an angle that upsets us. I think that's a reach. Some are fair. Some are logical. Some, you can definitely, I think, put on a list of, hey, we need to talk about this. Not because we're hitting the panic button, but we just recognize there's a trend. Those are fine. But now it's, I think, going a little too extreme, which at this point you're 4-0. And the quarterback has answered so many damn questions. A lot of them. Majority of them. A huge portion of them. I don't really have any panic button on the quarterback at this point because he's pretty much proven to us a lot of things. All right, we'll take one here from Nolan.
What's up, bros? Bit of a sloppy win, might I say. It was sloppy. It was kind of ugly, a little bit ugly at times. When we got down 14-0, we turned over the ball on downs. It looked a little rough, but clearly the defense picked it up. Good Lord. I mean, the defense was so utterly impressive today. They gave up 7 points the entire game. Extremely impressive. Haason Reddick, Fletcher Cox, all those boys. Jordan Davis had the big tackle for loss. Very impressive from the defense today. And I don't want to hear anything about the lack of competition. Everybody was hyping Jacksonville coming into the game, how great they were, and how great their run defense was. Yeah, we ran all over them, right? And the offense, Jalen Hurts, kind of ugly at times. He had the bad pick six. I feel like even though AJ could have caught that and could have made the tackle, it was a little behind him, and it wasn't a great decision. But it was a great team win. They all picked it up. They picked up the slack. They got the run game going.
I agree with you, though, with the whole lack of schedule, or the schedule is there's a lack of talent. All of a sudden, you're just ripping apart the Birds for winning and winning and winning. Yeah, look, the NFC is not very talented this year, and there's bad football teams throughout the NFL. But it seems like, well, the Lions are a good team this year. Well, no, they're really not. Washington has Carson Wentz. Well, Carson Wentz isn't very good. Oh, Minnesota with Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook with Adam Taylor. Well, Minnesota's not very good. The Lions, they're up and coming. They have Trevor Lawrence, Doug Peterson changed the well, they're maybe not as good as we thought. They're beating the teams. That's all they can do. And when you watch them play, it's not ugly. I mean, today was sloppy because of the weather, but by one point, they just took control of it. They're in control of these games. Once they get established, teams have a very difficult time of figuring out what the hell they're doing on defense, trying to stop this Eagles offense, because the offensive line is, saying, move over. While you're seeing playmakers make plays on defense. So these teams are struggling to adjust to what the Eagles are throwing their way on both sides of the football. There's so many portions and big portions of these games where the teams that they're playing are lost and toast. So it would be different if they're beating, let's see, well, Denver, for example, okay? Like Denver won the other day against, was that the game? It wasn't, it was the 49ers, right? They won 11-10 or something like that. If they were winning games 11-10, 10-7, right now they're down at half as I'm recording this. But that's kind of the example I want to use. They won 11-10. They beat the Texans 16-9. Nobody thought that it would look good. It didn't pass any sort of smell test. Then I'd say, okay, maybe there's some legitimacy to that. But when you're just blowing the doors off teams, it's not even close. It's not even close. They're by far better than all these teams. But that doesn't mean that they're only winning because the other teams are bad. The other teams are bad, and the Eagles are good. It's both. It's both. Because guess what? The Bills, all right, who ended up, and this is where I'll kind of wrap things up here, but the Bills ended up beating the Ravens today 23-20. It was absurd, right? But they're going to finish with 13 wins. Maybe they're 13-4, let's say. Well, the Bills are good, and then there's going to be bad teams that they beat to get those 13 wins. Not all of them. The Ravens are a good franchise, right? But they beat the Titans 41-7. I don't think the Titans are very good. They have the Jets on their schedule. They have the Browns on their schedule. They have the Lions on their schedule. They have the Jets on their schedule again because of the AFC East. They have the Bears on their schedule, right? These are teams that are not very good. That's an uncontrollable. Do the Bills lose points because of that? Absolutely not. All right, I'm wrapping things up. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. We'll be talking about this all week, baby. Go Birds. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I love you all, and I will catch you on the next.